What's up, guys? We're here. So this is the long-awaited revamp for JoJo. This will include like the tweening, all the effects. I'm not gonna short side y'all this time. The other time, I don't know what I was thinking when I made those. Like, I guess it was good intentions, but the final product just was bad. So let's make a better system. We're still gonna use like the manual world and stuff, but we can tween that. And like I'll show you how to do that. And this is gonna be part 1, so this is just gonna be like the summoning, and then part 2 probably be like the basic attacking and like blocking and stuff. So yeah, let's get started. You already know the deal. Local script and starter pack. Call it summon. Remote event and replicated storage. Call it summon as well. And then a server script and server script service. Call that summon as well. So now we want to reference the player. So the game get servers players dot local player. Then you want to reference the replicated storage. So local RP is equal to game get servers replicated storage. Now we want to reference the summon remote event that's in RP. So we're gonna do summon is equal to RP wait for child summon, right? So make sure it's like this, just like this. You got to be very specific. All right, now we're gonna do two bools. We're gonna do is active is equal to false and local debounce is equal to false. So is active will be the determining factor of if your stand is out or not, and debounce will be sort of like for your cooldown, so you can't spam it. It stops you from spamming your scripts and stuff. And then we want to do above here, I do local u is is equal to game get service user input service uis dot input begin colon connect function. There we go. Then input and is typing. So if is typing, then return else if input dot key code is equal to enum dot key code dot q. So q is gonna be my button for summoning. You can have it as E, left shift, left alt, anything, but I'm gonna have mine as Q. Then we're gonna do an if statement. So if debounce is equal to false, right? And if and is active is equal to false, then it will set is active to true, debounce also to true. Then it's gonna do summon fire client, not fire client, fire server, and then it's gonna wait CD, aka cooldown, and debounce is gonna be set back to false. So what this is gonna do is let me actually finish the other part. So else if debounce is equal to false and is active is equal to true. So this is for if the stand is active, then is active is equal to false, debounce is equal to true, summon fire server, wait CD, and then set the debounce back to false, right? So debounce is controlling, so debounce has to always be false in the instance of pressing Q, right? So if it's not false, that means you can't press Q. Like if you do, nothing will happen. So is active is gonna be the boulevard that we'll need to send over to summon, right? So is active, you're gonna put it in the parentheses for fire server and make sure it looks just like this. That's all you need for the local script. Now you want a dummy. I'm gonna reteach like how to customize and all that. I'm gonna just call it stand, right? remove the humanoid, because that will make the stand bug and like hold your player down. But do not confuse it with the humanoid root part. A humanoid root part is the actual part, whereas the humanoid is a humanoid. So instead, right, you want to add an object called animation controller. Controller, not the regular animation. Animation controller. It should not have an animation ID. It should just be just like this. You want to name it anim control, right? And then you want to select all the parts that's in the dummy. Every single part has to be unanchored, can't collide false, and maskless. Okay. So now you can drag the stand inside of this server script, right? Now in the server script, well, local script, copy these two lines, go to the summon script, like the server script, and paste them, right? Now we're gonna do summon.on server event :connect function, right? We're gonna put player in and is active, because is active is what we send over through Fire server, right? This is the bool. So we're gonna need a few things, right? Gonna need the character of the player, player.character. We're gonna need the humanoid of the player, so character dot human. Oh, I should say humanoid of the character, I should say, and local humanoid root part of the character, humanoid root part. So this is what we need for our player. So next, what we want to check is if is active, then and else, right? So this first part is just saying if this is true, then it will do what's in this, and if it's false, then it will go to else and just do the default, right? Alright, so now what we want to do is local stand, right? And this is very specific to this stand, right? And I'm gonna teach you how to differentiate the different stands and stuff, so you don't have to like worry about too many naming these differently. Alright, so what you want to do is local stand is equal to script wait for child stand :clone, right? So we're gonna clone the stand, then we're gonna parent the stand to the character. We're not gonna use any folders, we're just gonna parent it to the character. And then we're gonna do stand.primary parts. So primary part is the humanoid root part of the stand, right? .c frame is equal to humanoid root part .c frame, right? So now at the top right here, I'm gonna drop a few lines. Sorry for the weird cut. So after we do the primary part, we set the c frame to humanoid.c frame, humanoid root part .c frame. Then we need to make the weld. So weld is equal to instance.new manual weld dot part 0 is equal to stand dot primary part, because that's the thing that we need to weld, right? And weld dot part 1 is the thing we're welding it to. So now weld 0 C0 will be weld dot part 0 dot c frame :2 object space, and then in the parentheses weld dot part 1 dot c frame, right? And then weld dot parent is equal to weld dot part 0. So weld that parent is just parenting it to the stand dot primary part. This is setting the c frame of part 0, like welding the c frame of part 0, like the offset, to the weld of, or the part 1, which is the humanoid root part, right? Then what you want to do is you want to make an animation. I've already like made like a preloader with an animation, my idle animation. You want to just drag your animation into the server script. So it's like right below stand, and if you close it, you can do that. Open it, you can see that's idle, right? Now what we want to do is get anim control, right? Which is inside the stand, which is what the animation controller name is, right? So we want to do stand colon find first child anim control, right? Next we want to do local idle is equal to anim control load animation script dot idle idle dot play, right? So if we test this, right, the stand will be centered on our player. So if we check this and we click Q, it's centered on our player, right? So now we need to make the offset, well, we need to tween it to be behind the player and like up a little bit, so it's like floating behind him. So to do that, we will be using a tween, right? So local goal, right? So we're going to just start off with local goal is equal to squiggly brackets. Sorry for the weird cut. So what we want to do is goal.c0 is equal to the same C0 that we set it, right? Up, right? As the weld, right? Then we want to do local goal C1 is equal to pretty much the same thing, but at the end right here, what we want to do is multiply it by the offset. So cframe.new, I want it 3 to the left, so to the left is negative, and to the positive, like if you want it on the right side, then 3 will be a positive on your right side. -3 is going to be on my left. And then I want it up a little bit, so I'm going to do 1. And then I need it behind my player, so I'm going to do 2. I don't know why. Honestly, I think it should be -2, but it's 2, and -2, like negative numbers are forward and positive numbers are backwards, so think about it that way. Then local info is equal to tween info dot new 0.5. Local tween is equal to tween. Oh wait, we didn't even reference tween service. So at the top right here, we want to reference tween service is equal to game get service tween service, right? And then local tween is equal to tween service create weld info goal, right? Tween, and then bam, that's what we have. So now when we test, it will spawn like on our player, and then it will tween to like its position to be at, right? So we're gonna do, and you see how it tweens to the left side. Alright, so now we're gonna do like some effects. My stand just looks weird. We're gonna do like transparency. No, let me just make sure this looks good to me. Alright, so what we want to do is stand, right? How do I want to do this? So up here, right, before the stand gets parented, what we want to do is for I, we don't need I, so for underscore part in pairs. So this is just gonna be iteration through the stand. Get children do, and then if part is base part, so base parts are regular parts and mesh parts. So think of like their categories like the overall parent category, right? So if they're parts, then part.transparency is equal to 1, and it should make the stand invisible, right? And then what we want to do right here, we want to make another tween. Well, not another tween. Well, we're gonna do a tween, but you'll see. We're gonna do a loop. So we're gonna do the same loop right here, right? Phone is doing that, and we're gonna do local goal. So pretty much the same thing. Since I can name this the same as this, because this will not have any effect on this. Since this is like locally, like say if this was under that, right, then it would have some problems. But if you have it over, well, I don't think you even have any problems if it does that either way. But I like to have it over it just so I can make sure there is no problems. And then go.transparency is equal to 0, right? Local info is equal to tween info.new 0.5, which is how long it takes to get to its position. And then part info goal, and then tween colon play, right? So now what I want to do is differentiate a part. So we don't want the humanoid root part showing, right? So we're gonna do and part is not equal to, right? And where we define the animation controller, we're gonna do local stand humanoid root part, right, is equal to stand find first child humanoid root part. So stand humanoid root part, and then we're gonna check if part is not equal to stand humanoid root part, which is the humanoid root part, then it can continue with it, right? So that's all we need for this. If we play it, then we're gonna press Q when everything loads up. Comes out tween and everything. So yeah, now we're gonna make it disappear, right, when we press Q again. Sorry for the weird cut. So now we're gonna do it so that we can put away our stand, right? So in the else statement, I'm gonna just shorten this a little bit. We want to reference stand, right? Stand is equal to character find first child, because at this point the stand is, you know, already out and like inside of the child, not the child, inside of the character, and we have to find it, so it's like a child of the character. So that's why we're using find first child right here, and then stands, and that, since that's the name of the stand, we're gonna do an if statement. If stand, then right, and if it finds the stand, what we want to do is reference the weld. So I want to give the weld a name. I like to call this controller, so I'm gonna call the weld, like I'm gonna name the weld controller, right? Because this is pretty much what's gonna move the stand. So now we want to look for controller is equal to stand dot primary part, because it's inside the primary part of the stand, right? Find first child controller, right? So if controller, then so since we found the controller, right, I'm gonna make a tween. And instead of weld, you're gonna get like errors when you like copy the tween from right there. Copying controller and put controller where you see weld at, because that's the name of the weld, is controller. And then what you want to do is make this offset 0, 0, 0, right? So it goes back to the player, right? And we're gonna also do, I'm gonna grab this again, right? I'm gonna put this above, and then make this 1, right? And if we scroll up, we're gonna grab the stand humanoid root part, so that way your script looks like this, right? So let me just space it out. So if stand, so we're finding the stand right here, and if it finds the stand, then it looks for the controller. If it finds the controller, then it finds the humanoid root part, Then this makes the stand invisible as it goes in, and then the tween goes in. And as the tween goes in, I'm gonna do tween dot completed colon connect function, and then we're gonna do stand dot destroy, right? Well, no, not destroy. I don't like using destroy that much. I'll use it if I need to, but this event like function just says when the tween like stops, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reference the breeze up here, get servers, the breeze, right? And I'm gonna just do the breeze add item stand, and then make like a short number like 0.05, 0.1. It's up to you. So I'm gonna just do 0.05. So now I'm gonna save, then play. And now we should have a really nice stand summon, so it looks nice. It tweens in position and it goes back in position. You can't spam it. You have to wait till the delay is gone and stuff. So yeah, got a nice stand system base to start out with, you know. And this is actually really good. So if you like this part, the revamp, and if you want like part 2, just let me know in the comments. Most likely I'll probably make it either way, but let me know like what you want to see from this. I'm gonna pretty much like revamp everything. I'm not gonna make like the actual like stand moves. I might make my actual like custom stand throughout like this tutorial, and just show you guys how you can make your custom stands, cause like copyright, you know. But yeah, if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, share. Let me know any different tutorials you want to see. I'm gonna do more of the blender tutorials, and more magic tutorials as well, and like sort of like elemental power tutorials, right? So yeah, thanks for watching.